And later, one woman says being pregnant in Florida is like a death sentence. How the state's abortion rollbacks are putting women's lives in harm's way.
Joining me now, Abby Johnson, former director of Planned Parenthood, now one of the great pro-life advocates we have in this country, author of the book Life to the Full. All right, Abby, it's easy for me to hear things like that. It's a death sentence and roll my eyes and snicker like I just did. It's just instinct. But there really are women who believe that, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, that really, honestly, was what initially drew me in to volunteer and work with Planned Parenthood. You know, women are going to die. If women don't have access to abortion, they're going to die. That has been the narrative of Planned Parenthood and the abortion movement for many, many years, for decades. That was one of the reasons that Roe was instituted in the first place. But look, here's the deal. Here's the reality. Texas and many other states have now, for months, now almost a year, have been abortion free. And I'll have you know, there has not been one woman who has died in the state of Texas from a back alley abortion, from lack of access to abortion. Women are doing just fine in the states where abortion has been banned, where abortion is illegal. Not one back alley clinic in sight. And women are doing just fine. Women are thriving. And also, babies are doing better because their mothers can't kill them here in these conservative states.
Freaking wonderful. Okay, why do they believe this then? Because it's not something that's real. So this is such a difficult disconnect for those of us on the right, myself included. Okay, it's not something that's real, but you think it's real. Why do you think it's real? It's not real. It's not really there. So why do they think this stuff happens?
You know, I think when people say things enough times, they really do believe it. I think that these women, and particularly younger women, they hear these things in the media. It is the acceptable narrative. And I mean, so many things, right, that we know are scientifically not true. We hear women say, that I hear people still say that a child in the womb is a parasite. I mean, that's not factually true. It's not medically true. It's not scientifically true. But they say it. I hear people say that a child in the womb, a human being in the womb, is not human. Well, it can't be anything else. A human woman has never given birth to anything else except for a human. But when people say these things enough times, when they say a lie enough times, they will begin to believe it. And when you have the liberal media also, essentially in cahoots with the abortion lobby, you've got it being shoved down your throat 24 hours a day, telling you, no, this is true, this is true, this is true. And I think these women, they feel like they don't have any other option but to believe it, especially because so many of these women have had abortions, right? So they're like, oh, of course it's not a life. Of course it's not a baby. Of course I didn't kill my baby, right? So they need to believe the lie.
That makes sense. Guilt has got to play into it. Okay, well, you mentioned the states which are banning it. Tell me about some wins. Give us, what legislative wins have we had out there?
Well, look, like I said, there's a lot of states now where you can't even get an abortion. Of course, Texas is one of them, Tennessee, there's many other states. Florida just had a huge win, of course. So many Ron DeSantis fans, and he just did something amazing. He signed the Florida heartbeat bill. In Florida, there was, of course, a ban on abortion up to 15 weeks gestation. Now he signed the Florida heartbeat bill, which now blocks abortions essentially after 6 weeks in pregnancy. That is a huge win for babies, a huge win for women. There are 5 states in the United States. Now, this is before Roe was overturned. There were 5 states in the United States that made up over 50% of the abortions in our country. And it was Texas, California, New York, Illinois, and Florida. And now in 2 of those 5 states, abortion is either illegal or severely restricted. And that is a huge win for mothers and their babies.
Gosh, that's freaking wonderful. That's wonderful. But of course, the abortion industry doesn't stop for a variety of reasons. The abortion pill, well, here was Joe Biden.
I think it's outrageous what the court has done relative to concluding that they're going to overrule the FDA and whether something's safe.
The abortion pill, where'd this thing come from? They seem to love it now. It's 50% of abortions, as you obviously know. I never even heard of the abortion pill till a few years ago.
Yeah, so it's been around now for over a couple of decades. It's kind of changed in the way that it was rolled out. So initially, it was rolled out in the U.S. You take this pill, this first pill, mifeprex. Let me kind of explain it. So the first pill, mifeprex or mifepristone, that's the pill that actually starves the baby to death. It shuts off progesterone, and progesterone is basically food for a baby. It's what keeps the baby alive. And that pill starves the baby of progesterone. Then you go home and completely unsupervised, all alone in your dorm, in a hotel room, in your bathroom at home, you take these 4 pills. And before, when the pill was first rolled out, you inserted these 4 pills vaginally. And almost immediately, you begin having very intense cramping, you begin hemorrhaging, and those pills cause you to pass your baby into your toilet. And the woman then has to make a decision. Do I flush this baby down the toilet? Do I scoop the baby up out of my toilet? What do I do? Of course, inserting the pills vaginally is a huge shock to a woman's uterus. It caused many cases of uterine rupture, some cervical damage to some women. And so the abortion industry said, you know what, this is not good, doing this particular routine. So we're going to change it. We're going to give them mifepristone like usual. But now we're going to have the women take the misoprostol at home orally. And so it's not going to be, as a shock to the uterus, and maybe it will prevent so many uterine ruptures. So that is what happened. It was a little bit safer for women. Of course, never safe for a baby, always kills a baby. But they did find that there weren't so many uterine ruptures. And it was a little more, little less risk of hemorrhage taking the pills orally. Well, now we've had this case now, and rightly so. The FDA did just push mifepristone through without appropriate trials, without appropriate study. They pushed it through, of course, because the FDA, they're in bed with, this liberal agenda. They want to kill as many babies as possible. So rightly so, this judge says, look, this was not done appropriately. You've got to go back and fix this thing. This is not right. This is obviously not safe for women. So he puts a halt on mifepristone. And but of course, the abortion industry, they're not going to miss a beat, right? Because they already have an arsenal of other ways to kill a baby through pills. So they are ready to begin misoprostol-only abortions. So here's the really scary thing, though, okay, about misoprostol-only abortions. Basically, in a misoprostol-only abortion, I said that the mifepristone will kill the baby before the woman delivers it. In a misoprostol-only abortion, you don't have that mifepristone pill that kills the baby first. So these women are going to be now back to inserting the misoprostol vaginally. So now we're at significant risk of rupturing that uterus again. They don't care. The abortion industry doesn't care. But secondly, now these women are not going to be delivering a dead baby. These women are going to be delivering a live baby. And these women are possibly going to see their babies being delivered from their womb. And depending on how far along they are, they might see their babies take a breath. And can you even imagine what that is going to do to these women? Now, they're not going to be told that. They're not going to be told that that's a possibility. But can you imagine how traumatizing that is going to be for these women who think, oh, I'm just going to go home and I'm just going to pass some tissue. It's going to be no big deal, right? Because the abortion industry has told these women that aborting your child through the pill is no different than taking a Tylenol. In fact, I have an email in my inbox right now from NARAL, and the subject line says, safer than Tylenol. And they're referring to the chemical abortion pill, the same pill that kills a child, safer than Tylenol.
Abby, keep doing what you do. I appreciate you very much. Come back soon.
Thank you. Anytime.